From NBC News, this is a special No Makeup Zone edition of Today with a barefaced Kathly Lee Gifford and a makeup-less Hoda Kotb. Yikes! Live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Did he say yikes?
He said yikes.
All right, you ready?
Okay, hold on, let's go.
All right.
That's right, people, don't adjust your television sets.
It is Thursday, May 13th, 2010.
Before we get out of here, a couple of things. I was watching television yesterday, and Kathly Lee Gifford was on, which is the reason that I know about this National Hammock Day. So National Hammock Day, good, happy National Hammock Day to you guys. But apparently she's on this daily show every day now, and she says, you know, I did this thing where I didn't wear makeup. She and her co-host actually didn't wear makeup. And you always hear me talking about makeup for women and how this is an illusion and putting on makeup. Not that I'm against makeup, and I really need to be delicate here so that my words are not taken out of context. If you hate what I'm saying, then I really need you to understand what you're hating, and then I'm okay with it, as I've said before. But I've always said that I hate the fact that women feel the overwhelming need to wear makeup. You know, whatever their natural beauty is, that's never going to be good enough. That concept bothers me. It's a mindset that I think is improper, and a whole world has been created around it because a woman going into corporate America who does not decide to put something on her skin or her face in order to create an illusion that does not exist is punished and probably won't go very far. Yet a man has no obligation to create any added illusion once he puts on clothes. Once he actually puts clothing on and puts on a tie and puts on a suit, make sure he has on nice shoes and a nice shirt. Once he does that, there's no extra need to create a different new illusion. It's not necessary. But with a woman, she's got to do all of the above that a man has to do, and then she also then has to get out color and then paint herself. Now, if you're doing it completely for you, as I've said before, I'm okay with it. But I hate the fact that women feel that they've got to do it for other people. That's what pisses me off, because a man is not held to that same standard. A man is allowed to age, and whatever wrinkle or discoloration or whatever that goes into that, he's allowed to show that to the world without being too penalized, where a woman has got to look perfect every day. When you haven't seen a woman for 20 years, you're supposed to pretend that she's not aged, even though you and she both know that she's done something, usually, to make it appear that she hasn't aged. You're not supposed to know any of that. You're supposed to just walk right into the whole thing and pretend like you don't know that the reason why she appears to not have aged is because she's put on another layer of the illusion. And so I've always been against makeup for that purpose, because I don't think that most people who put it on are putting it on for the right reason. Well, damn it, I may have been convinced yesterday. Kathly Lee Gifford, sitting on that, I think it's the Today Show or whatever show she's on, sitting at that table without makeup on, freaked me out. And I think that I want to go on record as apologizing to women everywhere. And I want to say that I'm modifying my stance at this point. If you look like Kathly Lee Gifford looks without makeup on, I now think that it is your duty and obligation to society and to the world to make sure that you put on makeup before you step out of that house. In fact, if you look the way Kathly Lee Gifford looks without makeup on, I think you have an extra obligation to your husband. He's never to see you without makeup. This is what you need to do. And listen to me, and listen to me very carefully. What you need to do is, before he wakes up, you need to know what time he wakes up in the morning. And before he wakes up, you slip out of bed. You ease out of that bed very, very quickly and quietly. And you go in that makeup room, in that bathroom, or wherever your seat is, so that you can resculpture that mess. And you get some of the finest quality. Don't spare any expense, even if it comes to using his money. Use his money for this. Get the best makeup that you could possibly find. If you know how some people have live-in housekeepers? Kathly Lee Gifford needs a live-in makeup artist. So you get a live-in makeup artist if you can afford one. If not, then you use his money in order to go to school to become a makeup artist for yourself. And you sculpture and you paint that face to where it looks like Kathly Lee Gifford normally looks when we see her on television. And then you get back in that bed and you lie down next to your husband. Lay down, I guess you got to lay down on your back so that, you know, your hair's going to be a mess unless you wrap it up in something, but don't let any of that makeup smear off. So that when your husband first wakes up in the morning and he looks over at you, that's the first thing that he sees. Yeah, my stance is completely changed. He needs to see that when he wakes up in the morning. I can't even imagine what Frank, and Frank is no prize. Frank is real screwed up looking. Frank could probably do with a makeup job himself. But when he wakes up in the morning and he looks over at you, he needs to see that. If he wakes up in the morning and sees what Kathly Lee Gifford showed to the world the other day, Frank is not a well man. He's not a young man. There's no way his heart is in any condition to be looking at that every day. It's not right. It's not right and it's not okay. Kathly Lee Gifford, I believe, and I could be wrong, I need to look at the statutes here, but I think that Kathly Lee Gifford theoretically could be charged with murder if her husband were to have a heart attack. Somebody really needs to look into that. Find out whether or not Kathly Lee Gifford has a huge life insurance policy out on her husband. If she does, and she's not taking my advice, she could be charged with attempted murder, if not murder, if that man actually has a heart attack, goes into cardiac arrest when he wakes up and looks over at that. I never thought I'd feel sorry for Frank Gifford. But good Lord. And Kathy seems like a nice enough woman. This doesn't have anything to do with her niceness. This doesn't have anything to do with her as a human being. Or maybe it does. Maybe it does really say something for a human being who would look like that and then have the tools that's necessary in order to make herself not look like that, still do it anyway, lay there, let her husband look over at her, and risk potentially sending that man in a cardiac arrest every morning. It's a shame, it's a travesty, and I'm against it.